I think that certainly these rate hikes have kicked into the economy, and it's slowing things down. There's no question about it. And the sense I get on the front lines here, we're talking to people. People are concerned about their jobs, they're concerned about inflation, they're concerned about a lot of different things, and that's a lot of them are pumping the brakes. I think that's why the rate at which homes are selling has slowed down a little bit.
Welcome to another edition of Tuesday Tips with Brent and Lee. If this is the first time you've been to my channel, my name is Lee Brickey, and I'm joined here with my good friend and lender, Brent Starks from Unitas Lending. And today we're going to talk to you about what's happening with the market and rates and Florida in general, because there's some good news as far as Florida goes and its environment. So we're going to tell you a little bit about that. But before we get started, if this is the first time you've been to our site, don't forget to subscribe to this channel so you don't miss any of our real estate tips and tours. We're doing videos every single week, and we talk here about real estate, mortgages, and money. So if any of that interested you, then eventually we're going to talk about something that you're interested in. So don't forget to subscribe. And also don't forget that I am a full-time real estate agent and Brent is a full-time mortgage broker. So if you're looking to buy a home anywhere in Palm Beach County or the Treasure Coast, feel free to reach out to us and we'd love to help you. So getting started today, let's first talk about this new bill that got passed through Congress. Something actually got done, Brent, this week, man. Brian Mast has been fighting for our waterways and our oceans for a long time. Since he's actually taken office, the sugarcane farmers have destroyed Lake Okeechobee. And every time they open those gates, all that nasty, polluted water runs into the Gulf and into the Atlantic, and it kills our reefs, our fish. Our manatees are dying in Port St. Lucie. They're floating to the top of the water because of starvation. It's just been a disaster. When Ron DeSantis took over governor, the first thing he did was fire everyone in the South Florida Water District and start all over. And Brian Mast has been a real hero for the environment here in Florida, because our waterways and our beaches are what makes Florida such an amazing place to live. So the clean, what do they call it? The South Florida Clean Coastal Waters Act passed the House and is now heading to the president's desk to become law. And this is going to really help with the algae blooms and all of the stuff that's been happening. I mean, it got so bad before DeSantis took office during Rick Scott that people couldn't even stay in their condos. Remember that, Brent? It was horrible. Dogs were getting sick. People were getting sick. I mean, it's just been a real problem. And so that's a really exciting thing, I think, for Florida. And I really wanted to bring that up because I know that I love the ocean. I love to fish and I love our waterways. It's something that I really look forward to in the summertime, of going to the sandbars here in Jupiter and Tequesta. And so this is an awesome thing that's happened for Florida, and that the federal government has finally gotten involved with it. That's a good thing, right, Brent?
It's a very good thing, Lee. And one of the things we first noticed when we moved here years ago was how blue the water was. We were in California, and you come from California, it's amazing how warm the water is. It's 20 degrees warmer, and then of course it's the ocean. There's the blue water and the white sand. It's stunning. And to see, that was really impacting a lot of the canals and estuaries and some of the inland waterways, and certainly coming out of Lake Okeechobee. So it's really good to see that coming back. So we're excited about it too.
Yeah, and I just want to give props. I mean, it doesn't matter what your political affiliation is on this deal. Just Brian Mast, I mean, it's every single week I've gotten a video or something where he's been just fighting to get these bills passed so that he could clean up the waterway. So he's done a great job with doing that, and it's a real environmental thing. And it just shows, like, I mean, Florida won't be the same place if we destroy our oceans and our estuaries. So,
That's right.
yeah, so
Well,
we'll
to
move on.
explain, it's
Go ahead.
yeah, to explain that too. That's the, the pesticides and the runoff from all that, is what it is. And
It
Lake
is.
Okeechobee is kind
It
of a,
is. So it's a great deal for Florida. So I wanted to bring that up. If you're thinking about moving to Florida, that was one of the things that you were hearing about is red tide. And that's what was caused that this is the problem with red tide is all this nasty water coming out of Lake Okeechobee into our ocean. So hopefully this money coming to Florida is and the parameters that are being created through this bill are going to help fight this for us. So,
yeah.
and make Florida even a greater place to live. Moving on, we are seeing the market shift. I mean, it's a dramatic shift. I mean, in a very short period of time. Over the last, I say 2 weeks, we've seen massive shifts in pricing, homes coming back on the market, homes that are overpriced, sitting on the market, homes being reduced, prices being reduced, and less bidding wars than we've ever seen. I mean, the last 3 deals we put together, we had no bidding wars on those houses. So let's talk a little bit about what's causing this, and is it necessarily a bad thing, Brent?
No, I think it's a healthy thing. I mean, we're seeing what 20% plus appreciation in the counties that you and I work in, Lee, and it's just not a sustainable situation, right? I mean, the affordability index has dropped significantly with that combination of home and appreciation, which is a great thing. But left unchecked, in a raising right environment, that's what's gonna be a bad combination. In other words, for affordability. And so, for folks that live here, it's a real struggle for someone to purchase a home, a first-time home buyer. And so, seeing it level off like that, it's a healthy thing because incomes have to stay, in pace with that appreciation, that payment, or that affordability index. What we have in Florida, of course, is a little different. We've got folks coming down from specifically the northeastern seaboard, and that's what we've seen as far as where a lot of that, that money flowing from those areas to purchase affordable real estate, no income tax, and so on. So it's still affordable for them, but for the local buyer, it certainly is going to help level it out a little bit.
Right. Because a lot of people in Port St. Lucie having a hard time, finding a home that they can afford. So we're seeing a lot of people moving out to Okeechobee that were renting in Port St. Lucie to purchase a home because home prices out there are about $100,000 less than Port St. Lucie. I was looking at the market here in Jupiter and Palm Beach Gardens, and I mean, there's a ton of real estate sitting on the market, and most of it's because it's overpriced. I mean, here in Abacoa, if we haven't really done a lot on Jupiter, which that's going to change here soon. We're going to start talking more about Jupiter on our channel here, but here in Jupiter, I mean, in Abacoa, which is the Vasta built Abacoa, and he built the Tradition, and they look a lot alike. And a home would hit in Abacoa and Jupiter, it'd be gone in like by the end of the day. And then that's been really, I mean, if it sat on really for the last, I would say 10 years, I mean, house hasn't set on the market more than 30 days in Abacoa. So as the market heated up, I mean, it just became ridiculous. So these homes are now sitting on the market. If they're overpriced, people aren't just going to pay for them anymore. And I think that's a real shift for sellers right now to start understanding that, you're not going to overprice your home anymore. If you overprice your home, it's going to sit, because people are just more conscious of buying a home now, and they're very much more conscious of price because we have a looming recession coming. I don't see any way out of that happening. And a lot of people have gotten hammered in the stock market. We're seeing, the cryptocurrency just getting hammered too. So that's another thing that we haven't seen happen in a long time. I mean, we're definitely going to have a market correction. So, throwing money at a house a lot. Well, I'm hearing from other real estate agents in real that one of the things they're seeing is clients that were paying cash now going to financing because they've taken such a hit in the stock market and they don't want to take their money out anymore. So they're financing instead of paying cash. So I think this is a good thing for buyers. I mean, we've been pounding our heads against the wall. I mean, just beating ourselves to death trying to get deals done and find a home for a buyer. Going up against 12, 13, 14, 15 other offers is it's just a nightmare. So I know a lot of buyers have been sitting on the sidelines waiting for the market to slow down. And here it is, but rates are up. So talk a little bit about that, like how, even though rates are up, prices are slowing down and people are allowed. I think it's a good thing in the fact that, where you might have to come out of pocket 10, 20, 30, 40, $50,000, we've seen happening here in the last last 3 years to get your offer accepted. Now we're buying homes for, list price or under appraisal. So talk a little bit about that, Brent.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree 100%. It's a healthy thing to happen to the market. I mean, if you look what normal is, if we can go back to that, normal, market time, 3 to 4 months is not abnormal at all. We were talking 3 to 4 days, in this area, and to put it in perspective. And so when things slow down, that's actually normal. And we're kind of returning to trend. At least we're starting to. And like you say, Lee, when the property doesn't appraise, the loan amount is based on the lower of the two, right? The appraised value or the purchase price. And the buyer has to make up that difference in the shortage. And we're seeing a lot of buyers in a position where they have to come in with that additional cash. And then it becomes a new comp. And there we go. Now the next person is going to push to see what they can get. And it was just a kind of a maddening process because, you knew appraisals were going to come in low and then there was going to be a gap to fill there. And so, or to negotiate some type of negotiation at best. So, so I think it's a healthy thing. And I think having more opportunities as far as number of homes, the availability, I think all of that's healthy.
Yeah. And I haven't done more than a couple. I can't even, I think I've done 2 FHA deals and maybe 3 or 4 VA deals in the last 3 years. And those getting accepted have been a nightmare. I mean, each of those clients, we went through 5, 6 homes before we got one accepted. So, and then, this last year in 2021, I don't think I did one FHA or VA deal unless it was a new home, new construction, just because it was so hard to get it accepted. So I think that where we're sitting now, it's going to make a lot easier for, FHA and VA to get accepted, even though rates are a little higher. Those rates are lower than a conventional, and they're 3.5%. At VA is obviously nothing down, and it's a better loan now because it's basically unlimited. You can buy as much house as you qualify for. And FHA, it's 3.5% down, and the rate's lower. So you have MI, but it's a better loan for a first time buyer or someone who just doesn't have that 5%. 10%, 20% down, or has a lesser credit score.
Well, my hat's off to you, Lee. And I know you've worked with FHA and VA borrowers, and that was really how the deal had to be structured. We've had realtors, frankly, that just refuse to work with buyers in that category. And so it's kind of frustrating for them. They just feel like they're pariahs or something, you know what I mean? Something's wrong with them, and it's horrible.
And it's really not, I don't want to blame it on realtors because it's not the realtor, it's the seller. And sellers are having to come to a I just dealt with one today where guy wants to price his house like $30,000 over what it's worth. More than that, $40,000 over where it's worth. And it's like, it's not even worth putting it on the market at that price because you're not going to get any offers on it.
8 months ago, maybe.
Yeah, 8 months ago you would have. I mean, because there was
Yeah.
nothing there. But now, I mean, I don't see it happening.
No, I think he'd be wasting his time to a large degree. And I think it'll sit and people begin to wonder what's wrong with it. Frankly, is what
Right,
I hear.
right,
That's the conversations I have with buyers,
right.
Um,
And that's absolutely true. It's one guy just said, it's like being it's like dating, right? If you're on the market for too long and people women start to wonder what's wrong with you, right?
hey, I got married at 40, Lee.
Yeah, so you don't want to be on the market too long. I thought that was pretty funny, but it's true. It's the
It's
same thing.
true. It's
You
true.
don't want
What's
to be
wrong
on the
with this
market. If
guy?
your home's on the market more than a weekend, oh, there's something wrong with it, right?
That's
I
right.
mean, that's got to end. So taking the amount of cash that you were having to put down compared to what you could do now, in a more balanced market, is going to be good for buyers.
I believe so.
And what's your thought on, hey, somebody's buying at 5% now. What's your thought on rates coming back down maybe a little bit?
Yeah, yeah. And for some perspective, I just did some quick math. A $400,000 loan, let's say at 3.75% on a 30-year fixed, would be $1,852 a month. $400,000 at 5.375 would be $2,239, a difference of $387 a month, or $4,654 a year. So that, yeah, it's a difference, right? And it's
Right.
substantial, right? But how much is that home going to appreciate? What kind of tax benefits are you going to have? That's case by case. But being a homeowner versus a renter, you know what I mean? So
Right.
I think so that gives some perspective. I think it's good to keep that. But to your question, if I think that certainly these rate hikes have kicked into the economy, and it's slowing things down. There's no question about it. And the sense I get on the front lines here, we're talking to people. People are concerned about their jobs. They're concerned about inflation. They're concerned about a lot of different things, and that's a lot of them are pumping the brakes. I think that's why the rate at which homes are selling has slowed down a little bit in an midterm election year as well. So I think that maybe they've overstated some of this, how they've let the world know that there's about another 2.5% in rate hikes, and I just don't know if they can. That's baked in, by the way. So
Right.
That's baked into mortgage rates already. So that's the assumption. So if they pull that back, then we're going to see rates actually go down, even though they may reduce the rate at which they increase them. But if the expectation is not met and they're not raising them as fast as they anticipated, then the market will respond by lower rates. So you might hear.
Well, Florida just came out with a 4%. I think it's 4% or a 4% bond.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's right around 4% if I'm right on it. It's right there somewhere, 4.5% bond, and people are jumping to investors are jumping to bonds right now. They're jumping to bonds. They're jumping to gold. They are buying real estate. I think one of the biggest problems we had too with all this real estate craziness is a lot of these big companies like Blackstone and stuff are buying up all of these homes, and then they're using them as rentals. So that's no good for the market either when you're having these big funds buying up multiple homes in areas so that they can rent it and control the rental market too.
Well, that's, we've seen that. Our daughter's 19 and she has her first apartment. Her rent was raised $900 for a 2-bedroom apartment. I mean, that's a big increase in, 1 year, first time out of the house. So it's a wake up call, and this is why you want to own a home. You don't want to be in a position where, you're at the mercy of a landlord. And like you say, the hedge funds bought up a lot of property, Lee, and in anticipation of inflation. And so everyone's going to those assets, like you say, physical assets, commodities, hard assets, real estate, and that's where where the smart money's been going the last few years.
Right. While we're on the rental thing, if you're listening to this and you're like Brent's daughter, there is a ton of rental assistance out there in Florida right now for for your children, for your friends, for, I think the cap is like $40,000 a year. So if your income is under $40,000 a year, somewhere around that, just check in on that rental assistance if you're having problems paying your rent, or if you know anyone that that needs that there is rental assistance available right now in all the counties in Florida. And there's a lot of it, and there's not enough people tapping into it either.
That's a great point, Lee,
Yeah.
because the rentals have gone up, and of course we're not in season right now, but I think this fall it's going to be real interesting to see where these rental rates are come October, November.
Absolutely. I mean, there obviously, with one thing that we are seeing is there's less sellers in the market. So, the market's normalizing with less sellers in it, because a lot of sellers are sitting on, low rates, and, so they're, to go upsize or downsize, they have to make that decision, if they're financing, if they're going to do it, because of the fact that, their mortgage is definitely going to go up. Now, with that being said, a lot of them are moving with, several $100,000 worth of equity in their home that they've accrued over the last 3 years. So that helps them do, like, buy down the rate and put more money down on the next home that they're buying. So it is happening where people are moving around. Another big thing that's happening right now is new construction. We're seeing more and more. I'm getting an email a day from builders right now, which is rare. Before, if I got it, you'd have to sign up for it. Now they're just sending me emails daily, showing us property, and because most of these builders are sitting on spec homes right now. They have inventory. They're not selling as fast as they were, and there's a lot of spec homes out there with the new builders. I'm actually putting a video out this week on everything that's coming to Port St. Lucie and Martin County, because there is a lot of new construction coming. And there's a new, this little brief thing here, there's a new town coming to Martin County. Mattamy Homes is actually building a new town. So there's going to be a lot of opportunities with new construction for buyers. And some of these communities are, they're building homes for first-time buyers or entry-level homes. So we're going to see homes where they're very affordable. I was talking to a client of mine that was up in New Jersey, and she was trying to sell her home, and it took a little longer to sell than she anticipated, and she sold it for a little less than she anticipated also. And her and her sisters were trying to get out of New Jersey, and they tried. So they ended up buying a condo. But, she doesn't plan to stay in that. She still has cash, but she's just looking for something affordable. And I've heard that many comments from different subscribers and people listening to our channel here. And also clients calling me up saying, hey, do you think there's going to be some opportunity for me to get into, some of these new communities like Tradition? And there is, it's coming.
Right.
So.
Yeah, that's the upside.
Yep.
One of the things I've seen, Lee, I think it's worthy of mention as well. We've had a couple borrowers that they wanted to stay in their low interest rate, home, and wanted to purchase another home. So we're doing a couple of small seconds for the down payment, because there's so much equity in the home they have right now, and they do need to either downsize or increase the size of their home, growing family, that type of thing. And so they're using that as a down payment with the understanding that they can rent their home out, you know what I mean? And that'll more than cover the debt service, which is wonderful. And then they can, get the home they need to move into. And they're basically of the same mindset, both of them that we're working with right now, saying, hey, you know what, rates are going to come back down when the recession comes. And it's like everyone's kind of almost,
Right. So I think buyers should get out there and look for a home right now. If you need help with that, Brent and I would love to help you. I mean, hey, listen, rates are a little higher, but they're still at historical lows. Home prices tend to go up during recessions because people put their money into real estate. So, I don't see any prices coming down, especially in the state of Florida. We're going to still see increases in equity. So if you're looking to buy, and if you're looking to sell, I mean, right now you can put your house on the market and still you're getting a good chunk of change for it. But when you go look for the other house that you're purchasing, it's going to be a lot easier for you now. So I think it's a good time for sellers. It's a good time for buyers. If we can help at all, hey, please reach out to us. Hey, listen, if you haven't already subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button right there, slap it, and ring that notification bell so you don't miss any of our real estate tips and tours. And you can watch our next video on the market right there, and be kind to each other, and we'll see you next time.